Here's Brody Brazil.
Okay, you've seen the title of this video. You might be upset or frustrated or have an opinion already on what you think I'm about to say. And I'm just here to pose this question. I grew up in the Bay Area, always been a fan of the sports teams here. So I feel like I have the ability to say this as much as anybody does. I mean, if I can't question this, who can? I'm really here to wonder if the Bay Area is a bandwagon sports market. Now, to some degree, every market is, right? Teams reach success of a certain level and popularity jumps up. I mean, this is not an individual phenomenon for us here locally. Some markets have it more than others. Some markets have more teams or just more people than others. No two situations are alike, but can we flat out deny that the Bay Area is a little bit bandwagon? Don't get hurt by this. Like, we're literally just here to explore it. Now, I don't know if this is going to tell the full story or not. We're just looking at Google Trends. What's the backstory on this? Is this how much people are searching for? Is it what they're clicking on? Is it what they're interested in? This is just Google's analysis of trends. This is the Oakland A's across the last dozen months. I mean, we can go past or look in the past 5 years here, and you can kind of see that when a baseball season is happening. I mean, this was 2018. The A's won 97 games. They were in the playoffs. Look at September and October. They kind of reached a peak right there. That was a wild card year, right? That was the Rays wild card year. No, that was the Yankees wild card year. This was the Rays wild card year. 2019, you can kind of see the peak in interest at the very end. Then all the off seasons, not much going on. Oh yeah, pandemic right here. And then the shortened season, A's were in the playoffs there. Yeah, and it literally was right around October again. And then the off season. And then here they are in 2021 with, pretty sustained amount of interest, like they were supposed to be a really good team. Things unraveled in the second half, fall right off the map. And then last year, like the interest level, kind of cut in half. So look, that's just the Oakland A's. I cover their seasons. I should know. And this does feel appropriate to attention given or fan commitment. There is something to this. Again, I don't know how exactly Google arrives at this, but I do feel like, okay, I get it. So let's add in here the San Jose Sharks. And let's overlay their popularity with the A's. Now, these are the two teams I cover. Like, I should know if this makes sense. And it does kind of make sense. Here's the Sharks at the end of 2019. Remember, this was round 1, game 7 against Las Vegas. The famous Barclay Goodrow goal. And then they go all the way to the Western Conference Final. They ultimately lose to St. Louis. But yeah, you can see some peak interest there. Same thing here with the year before. But look at their entire season here. Kind of low, low, low. And then, whoa, we're in the playoffs. Oh, we're doing some damage. So there's interest there. Start of the next season. And that wasn't really a good campaign. If you remember, it halted early March of 2020, like everything else in our world. Then everything kind of goes away here. They're not playing during the summer. Here's their next season, which started up in 2021 at the very beginning of 21 calendar year. So you can see there's no fans in any of these games, not a lot of interest. Then they're struggling, didn't make the playoffs. Then there's the year after that, still didn't make the playoffs, 21 into 22. So you can kind of see that, their interest level has struggled a bit. But this is what Google says, A's and Sharks in comparison. Let me remove the Sharks here for just a second. Let me show you the last year. There's 5 years, past 12 months. There we go. And let's just do all baseball here. Now, this kind of puts the A's into perspective. Look at the Giants' interest level here over the course of a baseball season. And, 22 was a year for them where they had 81 wins, 81 losses. They were perfectly 500. People thought here until almost the end that they would have a chance at a playoff spot. Maybe that explains some of these heavy spikes. But that's just the past year. Let's go back and look at the past 5 years. And look, it correlates, right? Their seasons, their chances, not very good, not very good. Then here all of a sudden, at the end of 21, like they did make the playoffs. And look at that interest level. I mean, look at this just rocket up right here. So I'm not picking on the Giants, I promise you, because we're going to see examples of the Warriors and the 49ers kind of just like this. But why does it ramp like straight up like that? Why will people buy in only if the season is like rapidly successful? I mean, this could have been a good year. And I guess maybe it started off higher here than the prior year. It just never really elevated because the team didn't run away with a bunch of victories, or maybe they were less interesting, or Buster Posey was still on the team. I don't know. But it's interesting that there's not a baseline here, and that during the offseason, that interest, obviously, it goes away. People aren't searching for this material. It's just not out there enough. But it is interesting how it comes and goes. And it definitely arrives with the team's instant success. So let's add in here the Golden State Warriors. Now we're looking at the last 5 years. So they're in yellow there. And look at the success. Now it goes way above where the Giants were even touching. I mean, look at the Giants in red versus the level of interest of the Warriors when they're doing their thing, when they're winning a championship or making a deep playoff run. You can kind of see here playoffs of 2018, playoffs of 2019, not much going there for some rough years back here at the end of their 21-22 season. And then obviously, this year post-championship, what does the team do? And this has been a rough year for them. Let's look at the past 12 months here. You can kind of see how it spiked last year, off-season, a certain amount of interest, but definitely nothing like the spring of last year. Is there a 24-month option? Not really. Because you can't do 2 years. We'll have to look at the past 5 years. But anyway, it just goes to show you the capability of the Warriors to captivate everybody in town. Let's go ahead and add in the 49ers. All right, let's show you how football does. Football is king, right? Well, in this market, it's pretty comparable to what the Warriors do. I mean, look at the 49ers here of the 2019 season, right? Went to the Super Bowl in Miami. Unfortunately, lost that one early 2020. But you can see, same thing here when the 49ers, and look at their interest this year. I mean, I bet you it's pretty high this year. When you don't lose a game for a 3-month span, people are really going to buy into that. Here's their past 12 months. Consistently higher than anything else. And then made definitely a rocket up there, and now it's going to obviously tail off with their season being done, and now Kansas City being Super Bowl champions. So let's just go ahead and add in the Sharks here. And you can kind of see what it looks like over the course of a year interest level. Or trending level, so to speak. And let's just look at the last 5 years. And by the way, shout outs, I should have done this earlier, shout outs to Hal the Hot Dog Guy. He's A's Hot Dog on Twitter. Literally, Hal used to work at the Coliseum as a hot dog vendor. He's into, I guess, economics is his field of expertise. But obviously, he's interested in very good with numbers. And he actually screenshotted me something similar to this. And I was like, what is that? Where'd you get that? So then I started playing with this and found it extremely interesting to kind of gauge, the interest levels and the associated trending levels of certain teams and situations. But as I zoom in here closer, I mean, getting back to the premise of this video, why wouldn't the Warriors, why would there be all these spikes? And why would it only, this is green with the 49ers. I mean, why wouldn't this next year, why wouldn't it be super high? Why wouldn't it stay at a certain plateau? Why is there such an upswing that correlates to success? And does that indicate that this region is bandwagon? Now, I'm not saying you need to stick with your team. Clearly, I'm not saying you need to ride and die with your team based on everything that they do or don't do. I get it. Like, they need to win you over for you to show that level of support. But with the spikes I see here, with the jumps and the peaks, I mean, should we clear all this stuff? And should we throw in who would not be considered bandwagon? Like, would it be the Philadelphia Eagles or the Boston Red Sox? Like a team that maybe doesn't have that association with it. I don't know. These aren't going away for me for some reason. But I'm curious to know like what other markets, what they look like in terms of allegiance, and do you have those peaks and valleys? Do you have it completely go away like we can kind of see here? It really is interesting. And now it's not loading anymore. So I'll try this again here. Let's go ahead and add in the Boston Red Sox. Let's just see how they're green. Okay, so they kind of have it too. Now look, seasons kind of start here relatively high, and then they spike, for a playoff appearance, or they dip away. Now I gotta say, I'm seeing a similar trend. They're in green here. Playoffs of 2021, no playoffs in 22. So maybe we got something here. Philadelphia Eagles. Let's put them on the map here. I know this is such a random sampling of things. Now, okay, I mean, like when it's their season, I don't know the results of all these years, but Philly and this 2020 year was very abnormal for a lot of reasons. I got to say, they're pretty much in the mix, and they did go to the Super Bowl and win one in the late 2010s, right? So the point being here is that there is some consistent interest in seasons here that they have that maybe some of our Bay Area teams don't. So, look, I don't know if this spells it out, if I even helped my case or hurt my case, or even if I made a case here. But I'm here just looking at this data. You can play with this on your own too, and you tell me. Are we bandwagon around here? Do we just, ride the coattails of a winner? I mean, look at even like attendance of the Giants. When the ballpark was new and the team was winning, or they had a Bonds or a Lincecum or a Posey or a Bumgarner, they were drawing huge crowds. Now they don't have that. And, even when they're 81-81, or even in the year before they made the playoffs, it took all that success at the end of the year to finally draw those large crowds. Now, look, I'm not bagging on the Giants, I promise you. Like the A's have not had the similar success and personnel to lead into a high-profile situation like the Giants have. If the Warriors instantly lost Steph Curry, Draymond, and Clay, what would their numbers look like attendance-wise and interest-wise? Winning games or not? I don't know. So just something to think about. Let me know if I'm close, if you think I'm way off in the comment section below. And I promise you, I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings here. Somebody's got to ask the question.